Marnin!
Marnin!
Welcome to the India Explained podcast, recorded in London and San Francisco. One take, unscripted, no rehearsal. Hey Bunty, welcome back. For our next episode today, I thought we'd talk about something that you directed my attention to. Excuse me. It's a story in the Indian Express published yesterday. Express News Service, Kolkata. 125th anniversary of Vivekananda's speech. No need
Uh-huh.
to air PM speech live. West Bengal government tells colleges. The lead is the UGC had recently sent a circular asking over 40,000 institutions to organize a live telecast of the PM speech. So the PM wanted to do this on Swami Vivekananda's, the anniversary of Swami Vivekananda's address at the World Parliament of Religions in Chicago. Now, a couple of very interesting things. First that Modi, lots going on out here, and I'm just going to signal a few things and leave it over to you. One that Modi is trying to this is like part of a larger project where anyone associated with the BJP Hindu right have sort of tried to co-opt Vivekananda, who is not your run-of-the-mill Hindu figure by any means. I mean, he's an intellectual and he's a man of complex thought, which is not what one can say for, I'd say, like 95% of people in the RSS and about 90% of people in the BJP. The second thing here is, okay, it's again part of this BJP's phenomenal media organizing kind of plan. Uh, Mamta Banerjee's determination and spine in taking on Modi, which is not something we've seen from the likes of either the left, or the Congress for that matter. And then finally, in getting your thoughts, I just want, if we can just talk a little bit about Calcutta's sort of culture of contestation
Yeah.
and argument, because both you and I have spent significant time in Calcutta, you more than I,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
both of us spent our formative years, or at least a good chunk of our formative years in my case. So yeah, I just be interested in hearing your take on all of this.
It's a very interesting story that we've picked up. There's a romanticization of the Bengali as a rebel,
Hmm.
right? Ever since independence, and I'm not going to do a kind of accurate statistics on this because partly because I don't have it on hand. Uh, the the West Bengal government has always taken an adversarial position to the center,
Hmm.
right? To the detriment of the millions, 80 to 80 million plus population of West Bengal, to the detriment of the general population. First, the communists did it. Now, Mamta is doing it, which is like, cholbe na, hobe na, it won't go, it won't be permitted. This
Hmm.
kind of adversarial contested position.
Hmm.
Um, Now, you're right. Part of it is kind of, this Bengali fascination for kind of um, uh, taking on taking on a challenge against all odds.
Hmm.
But I think what I need to flag here is the dubious. So what has happened is Mamata Banerjee has realized that there's a gap in the market for a credible secular alternative.
Hmm.
Right? She's seeing the mainstream Congress, of which she was a part of, falling by the wayside because of this mother-son number that's going on, and nobody willing to see anything beyond those two.
Hmm.
Um, so as a result, she's saying how, and Nitish Yadav in Bihar has kind of segued it back towards it. Lalu is a corrupt idiot. So all of a sudden, Mamata spotting a gap in the market with Jayalalitha dead. Then,
Hmm.
hang on, I could become, if I could get people to gallivant around, jump up and down against the BJP, I could become a credible
Figure
counterpoint.
and a
Yeah,
credible figure on the national stage, right?
credible figure on the national stage, which is basically off the back of a regional party, which is initially Trinamool used to be known as Trinamool Bhavanipur because
Hmm.
its influence was in a small area of Bhavanipur around Mamata Banerjee's home, right?
Hmm.
So everybody thought that that was their core support area,
Hmm.
and now she's got West Bengal. West Bengal electorate. We'll make a separate comment on that. So I
I
think
just
that
sorry to interrupt,
yeah,
but
go on,
Mamta
go
was
on.
part of the Congress, right? That's why this
Yeah.
Trinamool,
Mamta
yeah,
was
yeah.
part of Congress,
So
and then
when
she
she
kind of
broke
segued and
away.
she broke away and did Trinamool Congress. And for years, she was in the wilderness because Trinamool's support base was basically a small locality in South Calcutta,
Right,
right?
right.
Not
Okay,
and
yeah.
there's a lot of fun. Now, I think the oddball nature of this is Mamata is essentially an honest politician, but an incompetent and egotistical politician.
Hmm.
And it is so lamentable that what is happening is Mamata Banerjee is becoming the cornerstone for by complete default
Hmm.
for a secular counterpoint, a
Hmm.
secular credible
Hmm.
counterpoint which carries all communities together.
Hmm.
And this is a lady who has systematically
Hmm.
played to vote bank Muslim politics in
Hmm.
West Bengal. So
Right, right.
all along the border areas with Bangladesh, she has turned a soft eye to illegal immigration, because these people rock up in their lungis and camp out and then start voting en masse
Hmm.
for Trinamool, right?
Hmm.
And so when people say that, why are you doing that? She says, because the communists did it before me,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. Now,
So I, the,
is it called Trinamul, or is it, do they mostly the followers say Tinamul without the
Tinam, I think Tinamul. Yeah, the Tinamul probably is basically, there was initially when the communists lost the left coalition,
Ah,
they thought it was like basically lumpens coming into power.
right, right.
When initially it was very euphoric because West Bengal
Ah,
had many things. Okay, cut to point. I digress. Um,
ah,
2 points, Mamata Banerjee. First, the confrontational nature of Bengal and Bengalis, and
ah,
Bengali government and Bengalis has done this
ah.
state a lot of harm. And I hope that changes, right?
Hmm.
Number two, Mamata Banerjee is not your knight in shining armor. She's a
Hmm.
totally twisted vote bank politics playing politician.
Hmm.
And I hope that people everywhere in India realize that she's not the credible alternative that we probably have to wait out a little bit longer,
Hmm.
but she is not the heroine. She's not the Joan of Arc that she plays out to be,
Hmm.
because running through her is completely scheming. She's like the Akhilesh Yadav, Mulayam Yadav
Totally. Yeah.
school of politics.
Hmm.
It's just that she doesn't angle out on caste and religion. She just plays religion first, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And then so she's the worst form of politician to
Hmm.
take on the BJP. Those are my two comments. Now, the fact that she's standing up to to our Prime Minister,
Hmm.
is Narendra Modi, is a really good thing, because I don't think Modi should be kind of given a free ride into kind of co-opting
Right, right, right.
all things good about Hinduism as part. He's tried to kind of take over yoga.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
He's done a number on Ayurveda. Now he's going to try and do Vivekananda. So anything that is, because Hinduism is kind of a slightly loosely structured religion, right?
Hmm.
Um, so what Modi is trying to do and the BJP is trying to do is try and take the bits that are codified and within popular recollection, which is Vivekananda, the practice of
Right,
Ayurvedic medicine, yoga, take that and appropriate it as one of these. It's inherent to the party politics,
right.
and
Within a
which it
kind
is
of
not. Yeah, yeah,
overarching structure. Yeah,
which
yeah,
it is
yeah.
not, because part and parcel of that, this Gomutra and hanging out with cows is also this fascination, which that's kind of the negative fascination, where I think I have no love for Mamata, but I think the fact that she's contesting Modi's kind of angle on being a natural
Hmm.
partner to Vivekananda is a good one, and I hope she succeeds. And I think she will, because it's a regional thing. You can't just beam into any UGC controlled university. The backlash to this will be a lot of these universities which do not telecast Modi as Vivekananda will get rammed by their funding.
Yeah, yeah.
Now
Totally.
that is the pettiness that will happen, which Mamata, here's the lowness of this. So Mamata, in typical Bengali fashion, will say, I will run to the gates and take down the Malik,
Ah.
and innocents will follow her in that rebellion. And when she runs into the gate and is fired by bullets and people die, she will be safe. The people who will get hurt are the idiots who follow her in
Well,
this.
that, yeah, that the
The popular Bengali battle cry is "তুই যা আমি আসছি." You charge, I will follow, huh? And the reason this
okay.
"তুই যা আমি
I
আসছি."
have to like just I have to do a tweet on this, even though we are talking. Okay, go ahead.
No, this is "তুই যা আমি আসছি" is, you go ahead, I am coming.
I know.
It's a Bengali battle cry, because
Uh,
for decades we've been led by people, Bengal, who are very confrontational. Jyoti Basu was drinking whiskey when he was kind of taking down,
and he had a
all
and
the
he had and he had a Mercedes, and he had a 50 lakh pension. Yeah.
correct. So all this. So Mamta Banerjee is no different. She's kind of whipping up a frenzy, but when the backlash comes,
Hmm.
She has no industry. She doesn't have a credible economic plan. The
Hmm.
state goes from bad to worse. And when I'm going back for the pujas every year.
Hmm.
She's also tried to politicize the puja. She
I
kind of
know.
said that Durga Puja immersions can't happen in and around Muharram, and thankfully a high court bench has said, stop being an idiot,
Right,
because
right,
you're
right,
trying to play the sentiments of the majority community again. And she's kind of classic vote bank fault line politics. So
right,
I
right, right.
hate her for those reasons. But
So
sorry, I got carried away.
no, no, not at all. So, I mean, you've raised a lot of points, and I think we should, we will go back to many of these issues. I mean, we should have like specials. It'll be cool to do like a series of specials on the political culture of different cities, especially big cities. And I think we could do one on Calcutta, Bombay, and Delhi very easily. Chennai, I don't know much about. But to respond to the many points you raised, I'll say a few things. First, Mamta herself, yes, she's an opportunist. I do remember my earliest recollection of Mamta is that she was outed, I think, by the Telegraph for claiming that she had an honorary doctorate from the University of East Georgia in the US, which
Right.
is a university
Correct.
that doesn't exist. So,
Correct.
now the thing is that in era of internet, you
Yes.
can do University of East Georgia and Google will tell you, beta, it shall not. So
Yeah.
that's one. The second thing is, about her this notion of corruption. Now, what's very interesting is in India, if you're not personally corrupt, that's considered very good. And you kind of get a free pass if you're raising funds for the party or for your
Right.
personal campaign. And there were rumors that Modi, and I have it on like pretty good authority, that Modi had a kind of personal war chest, and he had entered into his campaign had entered into a kind of arrangement with for an exclusive coverage with one of the media houses. So I do recall reading perhaps a couple of years ago that Mamta was raising money from industrialists, but she was doing it in this very ingenious way that she apparently she paints herself, and then she makes these industrialists buy her paintings for like 40 lakhs, 50 lakhs. So there was some there was some industrialist, and I think he was like I don't know, he was a Marwari dude or a Bengali dude in Calcutta. So he said that Oswal or Jaiswal and all, he said, yeah, I bought the painting, I gave it to my driver. So anyway, there's a lot of like inherent class bias there and all, but that's that. Now, you're absolutely right. It's interesting that you mentioned this fact about, secularism by default, which interestingly is kind of the problem with secularism, which tells us exactly why a lot of people who I don't think are rabid raging communists have actually moved out in disgust at that kind of lip service to secularism. They've moved to supporting the BJP with a vengeance.
Yeah.
I have a friend who mentioned that he was talking to Ghanshyam Shah, who's a sociologist in Gujarat, and Ghanshyam Shah knows Indian politics like the back of his hand. And when the Bihar election happened, which is when the Mahagathbandhan came together initially and defeated BJP, it was
Yeah.
being touted as this great, victory for secularism. But he said it's actually just a victory for another kind of communalism or another kind of sectarianism, right? Another kind of very calculated caste-based politics. And
Correct.
in one level, you might say if caste Hindus or so-called upper caste Hindus are playing this game, why shouldn't other castes? And that's fair enough. But on the other hand, if they're claiming to be secular, they're claiming to be better,
Yeah.
then there's hypocrisy there, and that's what's happened with Mamta as well. And the final thought
Absolutely.
is that in Mamta, with this, she's got this great political instinct, but the pandering to Muslims in Bengal started with the left, and they, for all their talk of protecting rights and standing up for like civilized values as opposed to, and I think the left parties, whatever their faults, have had a better record on that. But I think it's shameful the way they refuse to protect Taslima Nasreen and so on, who's been shunted around in India for a very, very long time. So that kind of politicization of, or not being critical of Muslim communalism and Muslim sectarianism, I think, has been a fault of the left, has been a fault of the Congress. It's also been a fault of a number of activists, academics, and civil society people. And the argument they always give is that we have the right to be inconsistent, because if we are not inconsistent about Muslims, we will get co opted, our arguments will get co opted by the Hindu right. But that, I think, has actually caused a very, very severe backlash, and I think the right has exploited
Correct.
it well. So,
Correct.
yeah, those,
And
those are my
yeah, we will
thoughts.
call this episode, Rohit. I've thought of a name of calling this episode "Dubious Didi," because that
Nice
is what
one.
she is.
That is
So
nice one.
we'll put this. This is the Dubious Didi episode. Will go out shortly, and keep. We love to hear your views on that.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we should like wrap this up here as we are
हाँ
pushing
चलो
15 minutes. And yeah, we'll be back with another story soon. Take care, boss.
চলো, টেক কেয়ার, বাই
তুই যা, আমি আসছি।
বাই।